Wait for it. Okay, so today I'm going to do an informative speech about men's versus women's sports. So imagine one day you are playing in the NBA. Playing basketball, everything's great, and you're playing basketball while earning a $16 million salary. Now, you'd be pretty motivated to play basketball if you were getting paid that much, right? Now, think of the exact same situation, but now you're only getting paid $100,000 to play. See, this is the main difference between guys and girls sports. Now, this is only NBA, and I'll touch more on college and universities, but this still affects what from college to pro sports do. And so, according to the National Partnership for Women and Families, women currently make 80 cents for every dollar a man earns. This gap is even more different in professional sports. So this takes me to my first point, is men's sports gain more attraction than women's. So have you ever watched women's sports or even attended like a high school or college game, and it's mainly just the parents of the players, some friends, maybe sometimes a student section. Now, according to the article, Gender and Televised Sports News and Highlight Shows is from 1989 to 2009, men's sports received 96.3% more airtime, while women's sports only received around 1.6% airtime, and then gender-neutral stuff received 2.1%, which is a lot more than just the women's sports, or the women's side of things. This is a steep decline in coverage of women's sports since 2004, when 6.3% of the airtime was devoted to women's sports originally. So, while a lot of people think that men's sports are a lot more exciting to watch because they may have like a higher production value, higher quality coverage, more replays, making it more interesting, funnier commentary and all that. While when people watch women's sports, they tend to find it more boring because there's fewer camera angles, fewer cuts to shot, fewer instant replays, and it just seems more of like a slower game, and to a lot of people it seems less exciting. Which takes me to my next point. So to see if women are even like legal to play in men's sports in universities, there has been it's called the Title IX, and basically in the article by Jennifer Polish made in July of 2015, it says that most colleges and universities follow that Title IX, which states that forbids sex discrimination in all university student services, academic programs including but not limited to admissions, financial aid, academic advising, housing, psychological services, athletics, and like college residential life programs, health programs, counseling, and many more. But Title IX also forbids discrimination because of sex in employment and recruitment consideration or selection, whether full-time or part-time, under any education program or activity operated by an institution. So basically, I don't know if many of you know this, but men's sports in college actually have way more scholarships than women's sports in college, which I understand, like men's sports, they may need more people, but to women, it's a lot harder for us to go to college when we aren't offered a scholarship, especially if it's to a pretty pricey school. So now to my next point. There are, in fact, women breaking the barrier right now, so the first one I'm going to talk about, which is this bottom photo. She is Sarah Fuller. So according to Bob DeAngelo, she is the Vanderbilt's kicker right now for football, and she made more history in 2020 for becoming the first ever woman to score a point in a Power 5 college football game. So she's one of the women that I'm going to talk about, or I just talked about, who has broken the barrier. But another one is Monet Davis. So in 2014, she was 13 years old. She was from Philadelphia. She burst in the national sports scene while pitching in the Little League World Series baseball. Now, although she has decided to ultimately play basketball instead of baseball, she was pitching at least 70 miles per hour when she was 13, and she had a pretty nasty curveball. Now, to conclude, just because women are seen, I guess, fragile in men's eyes, but I believe that women, now that they know that's legal to play in college and university, I think that they should be more inspired to break the gender barrier between them, and I think they should also be able to earn scholarships in the men's sport if they want to proceed and do that in college. But I also think that men should be more accepting of women in their sport, because there is competitive cheer and dance where men are in that sport with the women, and they don't see it as a threat, whereas when women come into their sport and they show that they could be better than them, men often say that, oh, you're not good enough to play, you shouldn't be playing, you're fragile. So with that, I think and I believe that women and girls should aspire to break those barriers. Thank you for watching my speech.